ಸರ್ ನಮಸ್ಕಾರ. Good morning, Nisha madam.
Yes, good morning, sir.
How are you?
Fine, sir. What about you?
I am fine, madam.
Yes, sir. Okay, sir. I am waiting for the web seminar.
Yes.
Yeah, yes. Okay, sir. Thank you.
Sir Satish Kumar sir.
बोलले तो पाठ
Sir, Mohan Babu sir. Mohan Babu sir. Mohan Babu sir.
ಹೇಳಿ ಶುರು ಮಾಡೋಣ
ಶುರು ಮಾಡೋಣ sir. I will ask
ಪ್ರೊಫೆಸರ್ ಓಕೆ
sir, Professor sir, Prabhul Kumar.
Yes,
Sir,
good morning.
good morning, sir. Shall we start?
Of course.
Sir, okay. On behalf of our department and the university, I will request Professor R. Mohan Babu to give a welcome. Then afterwards, we'll take a session, sir.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning, Praful Ketkar. It's my privilege to introduce Praful Ketkar, who has an excellent background and probably the most right person to today talk about the topic on future of media in the post-COVID world, opportunities and challenges. So Praful Ketkar took over organizer, which is a party, RSS magazine, and he has to his credit redesigning the paper in 2014. I think he took over the paper in July 2013, and within a short span of time, he redesigned the magazine, and he has made it one of the powerful voices of the RSS, if I were to say so. And he has an excellent academic background, and he has been writing on the international affairs, more so about China, and he has an excellent academic record also. And probably with his vast experience and handling the magazine for over 7 years, probably will throw more insights into how post-COVID era can be converted into opportunities, and it would be probably a treat to journalism students. And because many of them are budding journalists and they are planning to launch themselves into the journalism career. So now I hand over the forum to Profil Ketkar for his thought-provoking, which I think is going to be thought-provoking lecture. Over to you, Praful.
Sir, 1 minute, sir. 1 minute.
Yeah.
Sorry for the interruption.
Yeah.
And welcome to the others. Many, of course, audience have joined from different parts of the country, and also some of the even other members also joined this webinar on behalf of our department and university. I welcome all the members, even including Nisha Pawar from Kolhapur University, and another my colleague Wahini from Department of Electronic Media. Many of them, even Manjunath, many of them they joined. Of course, you cannot say most of them, they're in the different department and all. On behalf of our department and university, I welcome this webinar. And we'll request Professor Praful Ketkar to take over this thing, sir.
I join Professor Narsimurthy in welcoming all other participants in the webinar, and we are living in trying conditions, and this is our fourth webinar, and everything has been connected with media, and it's all because thanks to dynamic leadership of Professor Narsimurthy, we have been able to organize all these things. Over to Profil Ketkar.
Thank you, Professor Mohan Babu and Professor Narsimurthy. I'm really thankful to you for giving me this opportunity. Two esteemed names in the field of media teaching and research, and many other friends from teaching fraternity and my young friends. It is really exciting moment to talk to you about the changing media scenario and what are the possibilities in the post COVID-19 thing. What I intend to do is contextualize the media crisis. What I would like to call is as the contextualizing the media crisis, and then what are the challenges, and then in the last part I'll talk about what are the opportunities. I'll try to wind up my talk in about say 35 minutes, and then probably we will have some questions. See, the quest for truth and larger good, based on the reliable information and credible analysis, is the central, to the value system of the what we call as the fourth pillar, the media world. This is not the first time that we are asking this question: what will happen to media? We have been asking this question time and again. Especially in modern times, since we invented the idea called print, when radio waves came, we had this question in mind: what will happen to media? When electronic channels came 24/7, we had this question: what will happen to media? Then digital world started, and then since then there are many people who have been arguing And we have seen this in many countries, especially in the so-called developed world, where the print is dying a silent death. But print every time has reinvented itself. Media reinvented itself for the changing situation. So what, this COVID scenario also, what we are seeing is, yes, we in many parts of the world, printing virtually stopped, not because the printing was not possible, but or the content was not generated, but because the delivery was not possible. See, please try and understand. Uh, Content generation is just one aspect, content processing is another, but content delivery is the critical aspect that we have seen facing the biggest challenge in the COVID-19 scenario. So uh, there are multiple levels of challenges that the media world is facing. Uh, this entire 2019, at the end of 2019, what we have seen as the the Chinese origin virus has uh, started creating the world globally. We have seen the media world divided on binaries, whether to call China, for example, whether to blame China for this crisis or not. That itself became, and we have seen this tussle since the emergence of digital technology and the usage of digital technology in the media world. Simply because, there was a tendency of monopolizing the news narrative in the so-called mainstream. So the truth was imposed, the so-called truth was imposed, and there was nobody to question that truth. But suddenly what happened with the arrival of this digital media platforms and social media platforms, that people started questioning the media narratives. People started questioning the monopoly over truth. And everybody who is sitting in any corner of the world started becoming a sort of citizen journalist. And that completely changed the and interestingly, the people who stood for FOE started questioning these very voices who started challenging the monopolies, as and they started branding them as trolls. Anyway, I'll not, but the question is, uh, if we really want to understand the crisis, we need to understand that what is changing, how it is changing, and what are the reasons of those changes. Yes, if I'm not wrong, way back in 2008-9 itself, there were surveys and there were studies who were showing that soon the world is moving towards the digital world, and most of the news consumption will start either through mobile or digital technology. But in cases like India, the Bharat is the country where we have still have many people who are sort of first generation or second generation learners. So for them, print still matters. And the print technology still holds a lot of importance in Indian psyche. In fact, I have one experience of 1999 elections, where in a remote corner of Bihar, an old person, and I asked him, he was listening, to a radio, probably BBC Hindi, and there was a television also in that, small village, but it was a common television sort of black and white in the panchayat room. But he was very meticulously reading the newspaper. And I asked him, this radio is on, even the television is there, and still you are reading, this newspaper very. So the interesting answer that old, person gave me, he said, uh, this is, what radio is giving me is, just information. What television is giving me is entertainment. But for my understanding and connecting with my local, milieu, it is the print that is giving me that context. So it was a very interesting analysis for me, which I got, as a young researcher when I was studying in JNU and working on a project related to CSDS in 1999. So he was probably, just a, primary or high school past, very elderly person, but he gave me insight, how to see these media platforms. Now, when we come back to 2020, what we see, suddenly, there is a spike, and global, if you see the global trends, New York Times analysis say there is a rise of 27% in Facebook engagement. Then if you come back to India, we see a very interesting trend where DD National has seen 1.9 billion impressions in the 13th week of this year, which is very, very a different trend. In fact, there is one interesting study done by some scholars in BHU and some IITs, that in fact in India the social media time has considerably gone down, but what has increased is the online consumption of media, maybe Netflix like platform, or maybe even news, or televised serials or feature films, but more in the digital format rather than just a social media content or a television content. So it is a very, very interesting trend. And what we see in case of India is, instead of people watching alone, it's a family affair that has become important as far as watching the content. So it is no longer just a news content, it is infotainment sort of content, which is getting more prominence in Indian context. So whoever is generating news, the editorial minds will have to keep this in mind, what people are looking for. Similarly, there is one important data that suggests that in case of electronics, electronic media channels, it starts with around 30 to 40%, but for the print, it is almost 80% down as far as the advertisement revenue is concerned. So, and again, an important, trend. So, what we are seeing is there is a crisis of, what will be the revenue model and who will own media in the coming days. Whether really business houses will be interested in investing in media, will it be a viable option, at least to control the narrative? That will be interesting to see, and what sort of media platforms those will be. Then the question related to this is, of course, what will be the mode of advertisement revenue? Will it be more a sort of digitized advertisement with actual hits and the penetration that is going to decide the importance of that media house? But for me, as a more a sort of research oriented, academic oriented journalist, how the reporting will change, how it is going to be the segmentation of various roles that is going to be there as far as the media responsibilities are concerned. And even more is we are going to see the distribution of it. I will come to the distribution part later, but what I feel is, when it comes to the content generation and its segmentation, the compartmentalized segmentation will eventually go, and there will be a more open-ended, more, there will be two types of news content that will evolve. One is a very localized kind of news content where what is happening around me, that will gain more prominence. And we have seen that even in the print form, and that's why print editions had to go for some supplements related to local news. But it will be more so when you have more localized context of your activities. So your technology will be global, your consciousness will be global, your concerns all over the world will remain the more or less same when it comes to seeing media, but you will be looking for what is happening around you. So there will be a different kind of globalization or global model in countries like India, when it comes to media content. When it comes to distribution, especially the young friends, I would like to tell them that, see, whether it is print, whether it is audio, or the electronic or digital, fortunately I have got opportunity to work almost on all these platforms. I worked with All India Radio as a newsreader. I'm working in print medium. I have been panelist, and I've been associated with either election related analysis in late 90s or early up to almost 2004, and now a regular sort of panelist. All these formats, basically, we need to understand, are just mediums. Medium is important, but medium is not everything. The what is important is ultimately the credibility and reliability of the information that you are giving. So the basic values and the principles of journalism are not going to change. The 5WH questions that will remain relevant, whatever may be the medium. So who said what, how, when, where, these are the question ultimately is going to decide, and how you are verifying your sources, how far your thing is credible. What is going to be added to this is and it has started, in fact, in traditional media a few years back, that we have become more research oriented. The data has started playing important role. Who is speaking with more data, the research analysis? Because ultimately, when it comes to the information consumption, by night before sleeping, you have already seen what is happening world over on your television screen. So in the morning, if you want to serve something different to your newspaper readers, then it has to be something refreshing, it has to be something new, and therefore it can be news. And there, print reinvented itself and started giving more opinionated, but it also brought some kind of bias in this entire. And therefore what we see, even the so-called mainstream has positioned itself on certain binaries or ideological lines. In case of India, we see the pro-Modi and anti-Modi channels or media houses. In US, we are seeing pro-Trump and anti-Trump. So we are clearly seeing the ideological divide, and every news they will approach with the same kind of ideological. This is the real crisis that I believe. The crisis where you are presuming, you are taking certain position and then approaching the news. You are not very. See, news is never really objective in that sense. When you give preference to certain issue over others, you have certain biases. You can't eliminate that completely. But when it comes to presenting that news, the content part of it, it has to be reliable and credible. It has to give the complete picture of the issue. It cannot be one-sided. But for example, I'll take the present issue of say these stranded laborers. Is it a problem, in India? Yes, it has been. And, but also the fact is, we have dealt with this issue very, very consciously, meticulously. There were 21,000 labor camps that were created nationwide. Forget about just the, what government did or not did. What we did as a society. There are so touching humanitarian stories, and my experience is, because I have been telling since this crisis started, I have been telling stories of Bharat through my portal. The very positive success stories of societal level fight against COVID-19, and there is such a fabulous response to this. People are showing remarkable character and courage while fighting this menace on the ground, and society is coming forward, whether to help out the stranded laborers, whether feeding them, whether producing masks, whether creating health infrastructure at the rural level. There are fascinating stories. There are vegetable vendors who are just distributing their vegetables, every evening to the poor and needy. Now, all these stories have shown the remarkable character of idea that is Bharat. Now, so while understanding that the number of stranded laborers have been huge, and they are not, there are two categories. One, who are migrants, who have migrated from one place to another. Most of them are migrated with their families, and they are settled down for years together at different places. I'm not talking about them, and we should not confuse with their issues. What I'm talking about, the stranded laborers who are individually gone for some work somewhere, staying in Mumbai or Surat or Bangalore, and their families and house and the landholding is still there in the village. They are going through a real crisis, but as a society and the government, we try to respond to their need. Unfortunately, media tried to give one-sided pictures of either this or that. Now that is the real crisis, and there people have started questioning: is it what media supposed to do? No. So the post-COVID-19 scenario, it is not the medium that is going to just decide what the media will be. Of course, it will be really, really difficult for entire population to come back to the habit of reading morning newspaper. But still, people like me will go through morning newspapers, maybe online, and go through at least 8 to 10 newspapers on daily basis. And I'm sure many of you and the academic personalities who are present in this webinar, they also do the same. So the consumption will remain, the medium will change, but the association with the media platform will depend on how far the truth and larger good is served, the quest for truth and larger good, whether this is really the purpose of what is being done through that particular media platform. And I'm just calling it platform, whether it is print, whether it is electronic, whether it is digital, doesn't matter. There will be more and more integration of this. Now, again, to my young media friends who are students, what is going to be critical in this scenario? The mastery over one area, but acquaintance with all other platforms is going to be critical. Your skill base is going to be the critical. How your skills are, the multi-skilling aspect are going to serve the organization is going to be critical, whether you are a freelancer or associated with certain media house, but ultimately it is going to be decided on the basis of your skill set. So if I'm a typical news reporter, can I, just shrug off my responsibility as far as editing or uploading the news content is concerned, or generating a video content is concerned? No, I will have to learn basics of everything, but I will have to be master of something. And that is going to define the new category of journalist called techno-journalist. He is not going to be just the information collector. He is not going to be the information, even for that matter, the character of, the people who are working on the ground, interior, rural areas, who are, just working as stringers. Even their role is going to be multifaceted and, multidimensional. So this is the real challenge for the media world and for the people who are interested in entering into the field of journalism. Now, I believe that with such credible, reliable news content and multidimensional human resource, as there will be people who will be interested in investing in media. Ultimately, because media is not just a form of passing on information, but it is a different kind of, as Dr. Ambedkar once said, it has become a different kind of trade and business activity. So people would like to associate themselves with this business activity for different reasons, for profit reasons, for non-profit reasons, for diverting their corporate social responsibility, or even just for the sake of creating new brands or iconization of certain brands. There will be different formats that will come up. There will be different revenue models that will come up. But the critical aspect will be credibility and multi-skilling. If these two things are at disposal, then you need not. So there will be challenges in the long run. People will not come immediately for the print content. They will try to consume even the print content on the digital platforms. Still, I believe that in cases like India, especially the northern parts, even the elder generation in southern India, they would prefer to go back to news, in the hard form, that is newspaper format. But the content will change. The presentation will change. The integration will take a different kind of turns. And there, I believe that we have to prepare ourselves for new paradigm. As I said, the paradigm of techno-journalism, the paradigm of globalization, the paradigm of multi-skilling, and therefore, we should not see this just as a challenge. I believe that this is a new opportunity. This is a new opportunity to reinvent itself as a media. When we say media, it is based on medium. So the medium perhaps will change, but what will happen is the large section of population or the verticals that are involved in the media industry will perhaps either go away or will be replaced by different kind of people. Estimated, I tried to get some estimation. There are around 20 lakh people involved in media industry in various capacities. If we take right from the the involvement at the ownership level up to the non-organized or unorganized kind of level, where people are actually distributing newspaper, delivering newspaper house to house, around 20 lakh people. So what will happen to their job if this delivery system is going to change? Will these people, newspaper vendors, will have any role to play, because if the distribution of newspapers is going to go away, what will be their role? Then what will be the the interaction between the television industry, the print industry, and the social media or digital platforms? How it is going to change? Last few years we have already seen that social media is dictating terms, especially for the electronic content. The electronic channels are following what is trending in social media, and that is defining their news content. So this has already started. The online edition of newspapers have seen a huge increase, and its viewership as getting some sustainable following, and it is not just a one-time thing. It is happening over a period of time, because in that lockdown, perhaps what it has done is it has reduced this switchover period for the entire media industry. We were hoping that at least for next 10-15 years, this print to digital shift will virtually take place with the change of generation in India. COVID-19 lockdown has perhaps a little bit accelerated that pace, and though people would like to have content in hard digital form, there will be more shift towards the integrated content based on video format. Now, therefore, I see this as an opportunity. People, there will be a slump in revenue, there will be a slump in circulation for some months and probably even year, until the economy picks up and some sort of new model comes up. But the youth, who are just looking to enter in this industry, have already changed their pattern of consumption. As the readership data says, this youths generally do not have much of a retention time, so they don't read more than 400 to 600 words at a time. That clearly shows that the print content will have to change its character. Similarly, this 1.5 to 2 minutes video are getting more hits, and they're getting more viewership. So we will have to have a content, or especially the news content, not the analysis or opinion content. We need to understand technology better, the positive aspects of it as well as the limitations, and then declining attention span of a modern man, and grasp the aspirations. What are the aspirations? What I see is people are looking for, one, credible content, but equally important is people are looking for the positive content, and especially during the scenario or post-COVID scenario, like where economy will be down. People are looking for the positive content, how we are fighting this, how this new India is arising to fight this crisis. And Gen Next has a lot of talent. They have a lot of skills to grasp these aspirations and create content accordingly. Now the presentation will of course change, but they have the similar skills. So the picking up right news, presenting in a positive manner, and then using right technological tools, these three are going to be critical, and whoever is going to pick up this challenge will actually turn this challenge into opportunity. So I believe that there will be a lot of opportunity. In fact, there will be a lot of localized opportunity to generate a content. Initially the returns will be lesser, but eventually once you establish the credibility, there will be more and more engagement to your localized portals with global technology. So all these things are will be very, very interesting to unfold. At the last, I will share my experience, how I entered into media field. I have been academician for a long time, and I did my, I studied international relations from JNU, and my core interest always has been international relations. But what happened, and that made me write about the experiences that I gain on the ground is a fascinating story in the remote area of Maharashtra, Naxal affected area, where I went thrice for some survey, and every time I went there, I saw utter poverty. It was in 90s and probably 1996 election, and a lady and her daughter, every time either of them came in front of me for the survey. Actually, in my survey, only the girl's name was there. She was unmarried, but around 22, 23, and very, very, the kind of poverty I had not seen. So I was wondering, why they are coming one by one and not both of them together. So third time when I went, I asked them, I asked that girl, I would like to meet Mataji, the elder lady, her mother, and she started crying, and she said she can't come in front of you. She's, because as you have seen, we wear only one cloth. We have one sari. So we exchange whenever we have to go out. Rest of the time, we barely have clothes to. It was a very shocking experience for me. But what struck me about this particular incident is they still had faith in democracy. They still said, we will vote. They still said, we believe that democracy will bring some change. And I documented this experience. I wrote this somewhere in Marathi paper. And I didn't say, oh, after 40 years, this is a failure of democracy. Still see, lady in some corner of Maharashtra, still, do not have a pair of clothes. So mother and daughter, they are sharing the same sari. What I said is, this is the utter poverty, but this is also the real strength of our democracy, because these are the people who are the, when Mumbai and Bangalore and Delhi, their voting percentage is dropping down. These are the people who are standing like a, bedrock of our democracy. They are the real, people who are keeping the faith. And that story got, such a fabulous response. And people started writing to the editor. I was just a young, researcher that time. And that editor called me and he said, your story is getting such and such a response. And the people are coming forward and they're asking what they can do, to help out those ladies. I said, I'm back to my university. What can I do? You take a call. He said, we can create some sort of fund. We have such a account. So he did that, and we helped them with some, household chakki, the grinder, and some kind of, saris and everything. But that time, many people contributed to that fund. So bringing this positivity while showing, the lacuna in the government, government policies or our social structures, coming up with some solutions, coming up with some, positive approach, and coupling it with your right skills, that is going to be the key. And I hope that the young students who are part of this will, turn all these challenges into opportunities. Right now, don't worry about from where the revenue will come. Don't worry about what will be the new segmentation in media industry, about the verticals. Try to give credible, positive information with all possible integrated mediums or platforms. And once you start training your mind in this way, you will suddenly see, a new kind of opportunity that is being served in front of you. I'm sure that media will reinvent itself, and media has to reinvent itself, not just from the crisis of revenue crunch or the advertisement crunch, but also in terms of getting out of this credibility crisis. And I'm sure webinars like this will encourage interaction among minds who are associated with media industry, especially from academic point of view, and come up with some fascinating ideas and solutions for the future of media industry. I again thank Professor Narsimhamurthy and the entire team of Department of Journalism and Mass Communication of Bangalore Central University for inviting me and giving me this opportunity to share my thoughts and ideas with all of you. Thanks a lot. And I would be very happy to have some maybe ideas, thoughts, some suggestions, or questions. I would be really glad to take them. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor Ketkar. It was a fascinating lecture, and you gave very good examples, anecdotes, which should be an inspiring experience, or it could be a sort of a catalyst for budding journalists. So now I request participants to raise their hand and ask questions, whatever you feel like. Please do raise your hand and start asking questions to Professor Ketkar. Please go ahead. Hello. Please use
Hello,
your
sir.
raise your
Hello, sir. Yes,
and
I'm
mention
Dr.
your name and then
Yes, sir.
start asking questions. Yeah.
Yes, sir. I'm Dr. Nisha Pawar. Sir, I would
Yeah.
like to ask Praful sir. He talked about the transformation of media industry. Nicely, he pointed out so many things. But sir, see, in Maharashtra, a lot of the media organizations, media professionals, they are losing their jobs. Sir. Already, Times of India edition and Maharashtra Times edition, they stopped from Kolhapur since yesterday. So these are the cutting, what we can say, media professionals are losing their jobs during COVID period. Then, sir, what is the future of the media professionals after COVID? There are so many media crises in the country going on. Please focus on that.
I'm sorry, there was some connectivity issue.
Okay. Dr. Nisha Pawar was raising the issue of closure of Times of India Marathi edition in Kolhapur, if I'm not mistaken, and people losing jobs. And I mean, many papers are, I think that's what she was trying to point out, that editions are winding up and the journalists are being thrown out. And sorry, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
sir.
So
I can.
she was trying to raise that point of loss of jobs and closure of editions because of the COVID this thing. In this scenario, what do you still paint a rosy picture for media? Am I correct, madam?
Yes, sir. Because we are looking to the future of Indian print media. But nowadays, media professionals are in very miserable states. And during crisis period, why media industry is not interested to pay them good remuneration? Hello, can you hear me, sir?
Yes. What
Yes,
was
sir,
the last part you said, ma'am? Why the media industry?
Why media organizations or business house are reluctant to pay them? Why, sir? They want to give them the job and all. And they are very nicely, they are what we can say, media industry is transforming from traditional to digital. and digital content and work from home and all mojo eats, and they are talking very goody pictures. They are creating goody pictures, but in reality, the situation is very dangerous for the media professionals.
I agree,
Hello.
but
Yeah.
as you are aware, the situation is not new. This is not just because of COVID. 1 year ago, one prominent media house just threw away 465 staff members overnight, and we didn't see even a a buzz in media about it. So this has been a reality for a long time. So we are, the problem is the so-called mainstream have been in an ostrich like approach where they believe that they have monopoly over the truth. The point that I am making, ma'am, is media has been hypocritic about the role. They will expect all other industries to pay back, pay to their staff members. They will preach the capitalists, but the capitalists who are owning, I work in a totally different kind of media model, where we are more in a cooperative form. We have 16,000 shareholders, and everybody has contributed their bit to build a company. So there is no single ownership, and therefore we ensure that even if everybody is staying home or not able to contribute as per their job profile, and in fact we are looking for new kind of skill sets and we are training them. So there will be some innovation. Not painting a rose. What I am saying, media, and I'm giving you this very responsibly and very credibly. You will not listen to this kind of voices in regional media industry that suddenly people are thrown off. English media is playing a game, and
Yes.
arm twisting. They are creating this narrative to pressurize the government to get some kind of funding. And I'm telling you that this is being done. There are people who are just they are in a payoff in 3 months period, but still the picture is they're just thrown off, and this is deliberately being done. I'm saying that it is not about rosy picture. What I'm saying is that there will be a different kind of survival of the fittest. People who want to stay in their comfort zone and believe that they have monopoly over truth are not going to sustain, and these media houses will play their own games. But where is the credible media organizations, whether Editors Guild or media association of journalists? Where are any credible voices? Nobody believes them. That is the biggest issue, and there I said credibility and reliability crisis. So we as journalists and academicians associated with journalism will have to address these issues. And this
Yes,
is what the point I am making is, this has nothing to do with just COVID-19. COVID-19 has become just a opportunity for these media houses to take these steps, but this has been happening over a period of time. We were going for a switchover. Now the sudden switchover has given them opportunity to get rid of many people they didn't want to continue. That's the point that I would like to make. And this is not a rosy picture. This is a very challenging thing. But media people will have to increase their credibility, and especially the skill aspect. The skills will have to go up. In that way, they can work as freelancer. They can create their own platforms, and there will be people who will take their content.
yeah. Thank you, sir. Sir, one more question I would like to ask you, if the sir is permitting. Hello, sir. Murthy, sir. Can I ask one more question? Yeah. Sir, you talk. Yeah. Only last question, sir. You talk about the digital content and all, but see, sir, in India, digital subscription is only 13%. Hindu and all the newspapers, English newspaper, they are focusing on the digital paywall. But the scenario is not that much encouraging, sir. Please, thank you.
No, again, we are going by the numbers of English media. If we go by the penetration of what is being done through regional media in terms of WhatsApp content, the number is huge. Uh, and I agree that the digitalization itself is limited, but so has been the the readership trend. How many people actually read the physical newspaper? Those limitation was always there. Many people for many years, we are still talking about the percentage of say 77 or 78% of literacy, but among those so-called literates, how many of them actually have access to newspapers, and even if after having access read the newspaper? We never ask this question, but we ask the question about what I am suggesting, ma'am, is there is a medium that is changing. This medium is going to be a totally different. People may having very less access to say newspaper subscription, but they have access to WhatsApp and Facebook, through which they are consuming the news. And there is a very specific content that is being created and delivered to them. This is happening very interestingly. We need to understand and act accordingly. But the localized content will get more prominence, and who is ready to deliver that through various platforms, through integration of various platforms, that is going to be very crucial, is my assessment of the present situation.
Thank you. Now our student Keerti Prakash will pose his question, Dr. Ketkar. Go ahead, Keerti.
Good morning, sir.
Keerti.
My name is Keerti. I am a student from BCU. Hello?
Yeah. Go ahead.
Yes,
go ahead.
Keerti, go ahead.
Hello, am I audible?
Yeah. Go ahead, Keerti.
Yes, sir. My question is, you mentioned about considering the format, giving news in a format that the people like. Like as far as the making a format in which it is easy for them to consume news and all that, it is fine. But then when you look at the nature of the content itself, like, are we supposed to give, they like more positive stories, are we supposed to give them that? Like, how can we strike a balance between giving them what they like and what needs to be given, like, while still being a responsible journalist?
No, I'm not talking about just catering to populism. What I'm talking about is, while being responsible. For example, if somebody is jumping from the third floor and you are covering that event for some reason, maybe some catastrophe or some natural calamity or whatever, as a journalist, or the so-called in the popular media parlance, social media parlance these days, coined by some popular celebrity journalist, the vulture, will you encourage that person to jump and somehow get a shoot it and get first snap and get a credit for having exclusive picture or video content? Or you will try to create some buzz and try to avoid that jumping? If you read the recent controversy related to Pulitzer Prize, and the original person who regretted for getting Pulitzer Prize was the death of an African Somalian child. So if you read that, you can understand that frustration. So you can have vulture like approach, or you want to be constructively critical. That is the point that I am making. I'm not saying just give a goody picture. What I'm saying is, while highlighting a problem, try to give a balanced view from both the sides, and try to talk to some experts and come up with some kind of solution. Because especially in this scenario where the health crisis is looming, the economy is in a slowdown mode, and people are already psychologically stressed and negative mode. If you are serving and pumping them only with negativity, they are not going to see. For example, there are in Delhi, I'm talking about, when I actually covered on the ground, there were 3 or 4 places where doctors were treated, or some sections of society and their own neighbors, they misbehaved with some medical professionals. And I raised that news. I in fact, we tried to pressurize through various agencies to take the corrective actions. For Health Ministry and Home Ministry also responded very positively. But while doing that, what I did is, I also shown tens of positive stories that are coming about the way society is responding to medical professionals, how they are taking care of their families when they are serving in the hospital, how they are ensuring that when they come back from the hospital late night, they are given all the care, all the precaution is taken at the society's entry gate. They are assured that entire society is there with them, and then they are given entry without making them feel guilty that you are a carrier of the virus. Now these are the positive stories. The problem was identified, the problem was highlighted, but some kind of solutions and the positivity that the society is showing, that was also reflected. Wasn't it a fact that Tablighi Jamaat was the carrier, and that one particular incident became a triggering point as far as the spread is concerned? But that doesn't mean there were many Muslim intellectual voices who came forward, who not just criticized Tablighi Jamaat, they also gave a call to society not to follow, not to believe in, not to believe. So highlighting them also was very critical. We tried to do that. So when I'm saying that positivity, I don't mean that we have to give a rosy picture. What I mean is, we have to be credible, we have to be balanced, we have to be truthful about the situation. If the situation balance is 80-20, then at the most it can be 70-30, it can be 60-40, it cannot be 90 10-90 reverse. That is the point I'm making. Unfortunately, for many years on many issues, we have done the situation like this, and the way the entire narrative of Islamophobia that is being played in the Guardian, or for example yesterday's BBC story, if you read, you feel that every Muslim is being targeted in India, or what happened to Indians in West Asia. If you read those stories, those are so horrible stories of discrimination, but nobody bothered about them, the people who build this narrative. So we have to be very judicious about playing this, whether we want to be just narrative builders or we have to be real storytellers. That is the role we have to define for ourselves.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. Just one more question, sir, because this kind of makes us introspect as our identity as journalists. Another thing that has been in media is the discussion about nationalist and nationalism. The terms, like different people defining it different way, and then asking whether you are a nationalist first or a journalist first. This has been there for quite some time. So this approach a necessary approach, and if it is, then how to take this forward?
Ketkar, your views on nationalism and nationalist, this thing? That's what Keerti wants to know. Can you hear? Hello?
Hello? I think some network issue.
Network, I think I also.
Network is not a problem, sir.
Uh-huh.
Our
Yes,
network
sir.
is not problem.
No,
Yeah,
his
ours-
network. His
Our
network.
net- I think Propul network might be a problem. Propul is left or joined, you see, sir?
Am I audible?
Yeah, Praful.
Yes, now you can start.
Our student was trying to know, probably, can I explain,
Yes.
or Keerti, you
So,
can ask
briefly,
the question?
Yes, sir. It is just about this nationalism and being a nationalist first or journalist first. That question
I
which
got
always
your
comes
question.
up.
The
Yes, sir. Yes.
problem is the idea, the so-called nationalism has, very loaded European context, and unfortunately we try to ourselves, because of ourselves in that one. Secondly, there is this has become, fashionable to think everything in binaries. The national or anti-national or bhakt or hater, but the reality lies somewhere in between. Whether we are truthful to that reality is more important for me. I think as a journalist, we should be truthful to that situation and not being blinded by everybody will have ideological position. As I was introduced, I have ideological position and I'm not ashamed of it. The so-called objective and the so-called mainstream, they sometimes, take this bracket of being neutral, objective, and still carry a bias even in their headlines. That becomes problematic. As a journalist, I feel you can have your views, you can have your opinions, you can have your ideological position, but at the same time, you have to, and while doing that, I'll just examples. One is the US, and the second is the Mumbai terror attack on Taj. Now, both were terrorist attacks. Both were covered by media. But at one point, US department came up with some kind of regulation. Media houses came together, and beyond a point, they decided that we will not show mayhem. We will not show, people. We will just show this planes hitting the World Trade Center. Beyond that, we are not going to show Americans getting killed and, the kind of mayhem that was taking place. Now, this was not just nationalism. This was just being responsible. This was just being credible. The information was given. How many people were killed? Who are the people that are involved? What are the measures that government is taking? Everything, the information was passed. But pictorially, there were certain restrictions that posed. On the other hand, what our media did when it comes to the Mumbai attack, it was a live show of paramilitary or the commandos, reaching there, and it was a misuse, and we know who are the journalists who did that. So or for that matter, Parliament attack. How to cover such events? Isn't it our responsibility as an Indian national how to cover certain event, and whether we should be trained to do that or not is the real question. It is not just about being national or anti-national. It is about whether we are responsible or irresponsible. The same is true about COVID-19. It is not about whether you are following certain norms or not. I have been traveling or going on the ground or covering certain things. But while doing that, if police is asking me, or if certain health protocols are to be followed, I have to follow that. I can't cry, for some funny reason that my freedom of expression and my media freedom is under threat. No, I have to be responsible because, in such kind of crisis, I am first human being, I am first Indian national, and then I am a media professional. So if some protocols are to be followed by everybody, I have to follow them, and then I have to talk about my freedom. The problem is we are not following those responsibilities, we are not following those duties, and then we expect that all rights and freedoms related to speech and expression should be given without any control. That is, I think, unjustifiable, and that is creating some kind of crisis for media that we need to understand, because people perceive us, to be self-serving individuals who preach others, who expect even judiciary to declare their income. But media professionals will not do that, and I'm not generalizing this, because this is not meant for everybody. But the so-called elite and the so-called mainstream and top lieutenants kind of media, so that self-serving impression is problematic, and we need to understand that why people believe more in social media rather than the so-called mainstream.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, Keerti. Sanjana has been waiting for some time. Sanjana, please ask your question. introduce yourself and then ask the question.
Hello, sir. My name is Anjana, and I'm doing my degree in journalism. When it comes to COVID-19 situation, we can see a lot of, like, they're showing it in such a fearful way. In fact, my parents have almost stopped watching news because now they fear watching it because they bring so much fear in them. So I want to know, how are we, if we go to, like, in the view of journalists, how are we supposed to take this? How are we supposed to react to this situation when you're talking about the positive way of producing news? So how are we supposed to deal with this? Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Sanjana, for this question. As I said, the situation is critical and everybody knows this. So we have two kinds of role to play in this kind of situation. One is of public education, or building public opinion, or sensitizing public opinion, and this has been considered as the fundamental role of media at every level, not just in India, every level. So we have to educate people. If the numbers are increasing, we have to tell them. If there are problems in states like, say, Tamil Nadu or Gujarat or Maharashtra or Bengal, we have to tell them. If there is some reasons for this increase or some failures, we have to identify them. But at the same time, if we do that just in a comparative form, and we tell them that we have more than 65,000 infections, but a country like America, which is supposed to have world-class infrastructure, health infrastructure, have 65,000 deaths. A country like Spain, which is supposed to be, or Italy, which are supposed to be, number 2, number 4 in terms of health infrastructure, are facing this huge crisis worse than us. And why we are successful? Not just because of government. Yes, government is taking some initiative, but as a society, we are more proactive, we are more sensitive. Look at how our religious organizations are behaving. Look how everybody is trying to take care of, even the small scale industries, or the people who are working in class 3 or class 4 kind of positions. They are being paid without any work for consecutive 2 months. That itself is incredible. People world over are protesting against lockdown, and they are giving preference to livelihood over lives. Here we are trying to balance the both. We first protected lives, and now we are slowly opening for livelihood. How we have done that? There are beautiful human stories. As I gave some examples. There is one lady in Odisha who sell her vegetables. She has a certified shop to sell her vegetables. She does that till 6:37 in the evening. After 7, she has decided whatever is remaining, I will just go off in the nearby small locality for the poor and needy. In labor camp, she just distributes her vegetable. She is not a millionaire, but she has this approach. There are many deras in Haryana Punjab border who are taking care of lakhs of stranded people on daily basis. They are feeding at least 2 lakh people on daily basis. We need to cover that. How these deras, who are all otherwise very either blacklisted or painted in a very negative fashion, they are playing a certain role. The way gurudwaras are playing, the way mutts are playing their role. It is a fabulous social infrastructure that we have inherited, that is helping us in containing the situation. It is not just the government policies. That is our inherent strength as a society, or for that matter, even women. How nurses, how paramedical forces, how these locomotive drivers of railways, how mask making self-help groups, how women have played a critical role in fighting this menace called COVID-19. That itself have many fascinating positive stories. Do we really tell them? And wherever we try to tell them, people are near Bangalore, in some locality, I think 70-80 kilometers from Bangalore. There is some locality where few people went there to give them grocery. As they had a list of 6 people in that particular house. But when they went there, those people said, no, 4 of our family members are stranded in Bangalore. So we don't want these, 6 packets. We just give us 2. 2 of us are here. You can, help some more people. So we don't want. So they didn't have this mindset of just storing. They in fact gave up. They gave up for their neighborhood. So these are the stories that and these are real stories. Means these are not imaginary stories. So the stories of some attacks, stories of some deaths, stories of some strain and misery, they are real. But so are the stories of and there are many more stories of giving a helping hand, showing some sense of sacrifice. Initially, all of us had a tendency of stocking food, and if you go to the data of metropolitan cities, then storage of easy to cook food, Maggie like food or snacks, fast food, that was supposed to be the main items. But suddenly now, after first 2 weeks, now we are seeing people coming back to basic fundamental of rice and dal, and people are very conscious about it. So that shows that we are responsible citizens. It doesn't mean that other things are not available, but we have realized the situation and we are responding to it. How we are doing that as a nation, that itself is a story, and we should narrate that story. And we need not have certain biases for that. Whatever is real that we need to tell, that's what I'm saying, that there are gloominess, stories of gloominess, there are stories of misery, but at the same time there are many positive stories. If we balance this, then we can do our role simultaneously. We can sensitize the people, we tell them about precaution, we tell them about the reality, where is the danger, but at the same time we can tell them how people are positively tackling them, how people are positively playing the role, and we can in fact inspire them. Whatever little role they can play, they can do so either staying back at home or making some positive contribution in their limited locality after following certain health protocols.
Thank
Thank
you,
you.
Sanjana. And
Go back.
now our one of our students, Mohan, he's a lieutenant colonel. He's on a sabbatical. He's doing a journalism course, and he is going to ask the question. Over to Vamshi.
Good afternoon, sir. It's been a very interesting talk so far. We are aware that the present days, every sector is quite affected economically, and everyone is looking very with a scared look. They are looking into future about their whatever profession they are in. So the ominous prophecy that you have given, you just mentioned that media is going to be more localized henceforth. Could you throw a little more light on that as to what prompted you to arrive at that conclusion? Because the students, the journalists, they are more focused on getting into the mainstream media, trying to go do well and get into the larger picture, national media sort of a thing as a career. So being relegated to getting into a local media, it is quite disheartening, because anyway it's going to be a very bleak situation. As you said, 20 lakh plus media employees are going to be in doldrums. So now this is again not a very inspiring news for them. So what would you suggest as to how did you come to this conclusion?
See, see, first of all, 20 lakhs are not media employees, the people associated with some kind of media activity. It comes to even the daily distributor of newspaper from certain centers. They are also I have included, but of course they will also face some brunt. What the point I made is on the basis of the kind of news consumption that is happening place in recent time all over, not just in India, all over, and especially during the COVID-19 situation. For example, this for me, those so-called mainstream itself is a myth. If you are in Bangalore, actually Deccan Herald is a mainstream. But if you see from Delhi, it is very regional. If you go to Punjab, Tribune is mainstream. But if you see from Delhi, it is very regional. Why it has become so regional? Even for that matter, the Chennai edition of the Hindu is very regional compared to the Delhi edition, national edition of the Hindu. Why Hindu had to do that? Why Jagran had to start 11 editions just being Hindi newspaper? They had to have Agra and Kanpur edition. That shows that, you know, in the recent period, people are more conscious. Okay, whatever is happening, there are certain portals which are catering to just one district, but they are having you know, lakhs of hits every week. So you know, the habits are changing because people are conscious about what is happening locally. Now in post-COVID situation, this will increase, is my assumption, simply because that's why I said it is globalization, not just localization. Global. So your technology will be global, your consciousness will be global. So you will be more interested what are the trends globally when it comes to the supply chain, when it comes to the technological transformation. But when it comes to the actual issues and the news, the incidents that are happening, you will be more concerned about what is happening in your district or your state. That will be a new kind of pattern that is emerging. And as a media person, I am looking for a customized content for every section, or, you know, or for that matter, the niche content. Like, for example, in last few years, never we had this kind of consumption for, say, news like specialized news like automobiles related content. But automobile journalism has suddenly picked up in last few years. The same is true about the technological journalism. Or what I believe in the future will come up is the you know, the new sector that will come up to the forefront is the health journalism. In last few years, environmental journalism has taken you know, so the so-called political journalism or the so-called mainstream or national level will take a backseat. In fact, people are reading less and less about what is national level political news, because anyway they are getting it through various social media platforms. What they want to read is very specialized and still very localized content. How does it matter to them? How it is going to make impact on their lives? What is happening between Arnav Goswami and Sonia Gandhi perhaps will have very less concern for a person sitting in, say, a corner of Gorakhpur or Ranchi, because they don't have this question of whether she is minor or not, or whether Arnav's FOE is you know, crippled because of these mass FIRs or not by some Congress activists. It hardly matters to them. That's what I'm trying to point out. My localized content, if I am staying in UP, and in the UP region, if there are 2 adjoining districts that are contaminated due to COVID-19, but in a far off you know, 2 districts after crossing, there is almost 100% green zone. I would like to study why that green zone is there after crossing Greater Noida, and why in Noida or Ghaziabad I'm still facing the red zone or orange zone. That will be my bigger concern rather than what is happening in New York or what is happening in Central Delhi. That is the point. And as a journalist, as an editor, I will always look for this customized content for the region. If I am national level player, if I am a regional player, or wherever I am, I will try to cater and I will try to develop my skills for that specific period. And a person like you will have even a greater opportunity and role because you have insight in one particular field. So I believe that defense and geostrategic issues will also gain, you know, very, very specialized kind of attention in the coming year. So people who will look for Indo-Pacific, people who will look for what is happening in South China Sea, or the changing supply chain in maritime through maritime routes, that is going to be very critical area, and person with your kind of background will have a lot of opportunities.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Vamshi. Now,
just
Gautam,
excuse me.
please go ahead. Yeah, please.
Sir, a small supplement. So, as a takeaway, I see you suggest, apart from honing the skills of technology, it is imperative that each and every aspiring journalist try to specialize on some aspect. Like you mentioned, a lot of specializations like technological journalism, environmental journalism. So you say, should I say that these are the things which would probably come in very handy for an aspiring journalist?
Yes. See, earlier what used to happen that, you know, there used to be different kind of segmentation, or different kind of what in Delhi parlance, what we call as the political bits. So somebody is covering BJP, RSS, or somebody is covering Congress, or you know, left parties. That used to be the badge that he or she used to carry, you know, as a journalist, or covering MEA or Defense Ministry, or PMO. But now that will perhaps change, and we will have to have, you know, different kind of specialized understanding of issues. So as I said, you will have to be master of something, but still having hold on, you know, some basic understanding as far as other things. Like I'm basically a person of, say, international and strategic issues, but it doesn't mean that I don't know anything about national politics, or I don't know anything about regional issues, or I don't know anything about the health. I'll have to keep some kind of sense as far as what is PPE, or what is, you know, plasma therapy, and get a hang of it. So basic understanding of all, but still mastery of something, that will be important.
Okay,
Thank you, sir.
Now, Gautami, you have been waiting for a long time. Please introduce yourself and ask the question. Gautami? Are you still online, Gautami?
Ha, sir.
Yeah, please ask the question.
Good
Go ahead.
afternoon, sir. Good afternoon, sir. Myself, Gautami from BNU. Hello.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah,
We can hear
Gautami,
Are you hearing, sir?
Yeah, please go ahead.
Sir. I'm from BNU. I'm studying in 4th semester Journalism and Mass Communication Department. My question, sir. Channels have their own responsibility to build a society strong, but some channels are not given awareness. They're repeating the news, and sometimes they panic the society. In this situation, what are the challenges of the newcomers as a fresh journalist to this media, sir?
See, I think the first thing that we need to learn is the so-called, you know, celebrity journalist, or this limelight that the electronic media journalism get. You know, that is not real. That we need to understand. That is all hyped. We need to understand that as far as the English journalism is concerned, only 1.5% of Indian population actually watch what is happening in English media on television. So we need to get out of this obsession about, you know, electronic media. When I go for interviews, various panels or selection of some, you know, journalism institutions, I generally ask them, who is your icon, and they give me some names which I generally don't like to listen, you know, and because they haven't read about a person like Gilal Jain or M.V. Kamath, or you know, a person who were meticulous journalists, fine editors, and you know, they gave a sort of new shape to the product. So they are generally you know, get carried away by the shine of this electronic or TV journalism. Everybody can't be TV anchor, and you know, it's a different ball game. So I think first thing is we need to come out of, you know, this obsession. Secondly, this obsession of breaking news, whether we want to give breaking news or we want to break news. We virtually what we do is we actually we serve the broken news. So we have to be very unless we we make it sure that at least couple of sources have confirmed the news, not just on the basis of hearing but also seeing it, or confirm with certain names. We should not carry any such news without taking due responsibility. That is a sort of training that we need, and that doesn't come overnight, believe me. You have to inculcate that as a value, and media institutions, editors, they all of them have a role to play in this. But the journalists need to first understand that just going behind the, the entire what we call as the attraction of this galaxy of so-called celebrity journalists of TV journalism, that is not going to help. Even they have reason there with a lot of effort. We need to understand that somewhere they also had to start with some bit, or barring few exceptions who had miraculous rise. So basic values of true journalism will not change. The medium will change. We have to adapt ourselves to the new medium. That is the mantra.
Ajay, probably this will be the last question from this thing. Before winding up, I'll raise one more question. Ajay, if you have anything, please raise the question.
Yes,
Hello.
Sir, yes, sir.
Yeah, go ahead.
Do I am audible?
Yeah. Please. Ajay, you are audible. Go ahead.
Yeah, sir. Yeah. Good afternoon, sir. It was indeed a great, informative, and a great session, sir. So here my question is, I really don't know how to put this, but I will try to convey you anyway. I was reading a news or a particular article from a news. I don't want to mention the name. So my real question was that even my friend, my colleague asked you the similar question about the nationalists and the national news and all, how they make the headlines and how they make the front page news. So I really don't know how to put it out, but I'll try it out. Then the article says that more than 600 sewage workers were dying in a year. More than 600 workers. That is literally 10 times more than a soldier is been killed by a terrorist. I'm not making is in any way or putting myself in any of them, but I'm just trying to convey that how the headline or how the news will reach out the peoples like us. How I'm really sorry. How this news should be reach out to the people, because I think this is also a national issue. This is also a nationalist should think of it, like about the sewage workers, that is based on our India and something like that. So what's your take on this, sir? I'm really sorry for missing out these questions. So I think I conveyed something. So what's your take on this, sir?
You are absolutely right. This is a national issue. This is a very sensitive issue, and this is not just about one number. It is about being true to our responsibility as a democratic nation. We have been talking about the dignity of individuals, but if it is not being served in any profession, and sewage cleaning is just one thing, and I know there are many such numbers, but unfortunately, what has happened in last few years, there is a separate commission that is being created for this. There are various steps that are being taken, but what is not being done is bringing in new technology, and there are various options that are coming up, and besides government centrally or even from some state governments taking some proactive steps regarding this, municipal corporations have a greater role to play in this. We need to understand this one also. So how they can play, and as a society, how we can be more sensitive to such issues, because these people are not dying because of they are simply dying because of the gas, the poisonous gas that is being created in sewage, and they have to literally get deep down and clean the thing. So I don't think this is an issue of national or anti-national. This is an issue of sensitivity and insensitivity. Why to compare it with soldiers? Soldiers' duty is different, you know, by comparing it and by putting it, you are actually serving some agenda. That is a problem. There you are losing credibility. See, people who are talking about you know, stranded laborers, for example, they will never come up with positive stories, or they will first say why no lockdown, then they say why lockdown, then after lockdown is started, why laborers are not allowed, when laborers are allowed, why they are allowed, it is unplanned. So we have to come up with some constructive solutions. We have to make them you know, sensitize about there will be peculiar issues. There will be peculiar issue, like for example in Surat. Surat had a peculiar issue because from one particular locality, or even for that matter Bandra in Mumbai, it was a peculiar issue because in one particular area, people coming from one pocket of Bengal or Odisha were staying together, and the rumor was spread that there is a special vehicle or a train starting for them. Who did that? Why it happened? Instead of going into it, sensationalizing it, blaming somebody, and in this kind of situation where, you know, the virus spread can create a panic, we are really fortunate that with India kind of density and our kind of infrastructure, we are still not you know, into very public paranoia or very you know, great kind of crisis that we have seen in Spain or Italy. That is really great achievement. But how to play this? The same is true about the sewage. Even one incident, forget about, you know, whether the number is 300 or 600. One incident is good enough to study the issue in totality and present it from taking expert opinion and giving various policy perspectives, what is happening world over, what are the trend, which are the states who are, you know, doing best in this, instead of comparing with its you know, with the armed forces. I think it is better to come up with this kind of approach. And so the question is being responsible and irresponsible, not national or anti-national.
Thank you, Ketkar. Last question from a student. She has two questions. She is a student of electronic media from Bangalore University. Her name is Shweta. For technical reason, she has not been able to raise this thing. She has sent me the message. First query is, as GDP is lower, what will be the future of budding journalists and their job opportunities? Second question is, digital media is going through a significant share of its in times of news coverage and distribution in future, and ecosystem is very individualistic that poses a threat to original content and narrative. Wouldn't ground-based reporting and integrity take a back seat? They are good questions. Probably your take on these two issues.
What was the
First question is about GDP, lower GDP, and this thing, you know, the future of this thing. Yeah.
The GDP issue is not limited to media. It is related to each and every industry. Yeah. And it is going to be a global issue. Yeah. You know, there are global projections that are saying that it will be minus, you know, down to, you know, we are losing 4.8% of total wealth production. So it's a huge thing. Then we need to also get, you know, what Indian International Labour Organization, ILO, is saying. It is saying that, you know, 50% industries will, 52% of industries will processing all other industries are facing. So if you think that media is something special and they will not have any impact, then we are having a wrong picture. But still, compared to many other fields where the semi-skilled or unorganized, as far as social media and individualistic, I think social media or digital media platforms are still evolving more. Now they will get a better structured thing. Even the advertisement policy still is not clear. Information Broadcasting Ministry is in a process of doing. You are right that it is individualist, but so is the print media, so is the electronic media. I don't want to take names, but there are certain celebrity names who have certain connections and certain individual thing. That's why they are carrying that particular brand forward. So it is true with social media also. But the beauty of social media is it has an inherent balancing ability. If somebody is spreading something, somebody has equal right to question that particular spread. So everybody is equal. Everybody, though it depends on your followership and everything. Even with very few followers, you have every right to raise a question. You have every right to raise a different point of view or give totally contrary information and get a beautiful traction to it. There are many people who are developing niche content and doing beautiful ground reporting, like what Swati Goel Sharma is doing for Swaraj Mag, or I have one my team member. So there are many people who focus and follow up on certain news, go to the very detailed kind of reporting, and so I still believe that basic values and basic qualities of a good journalist will not change. The skills associated with those values will certainly change. I think persistence and hard work that have been always the hallmark for successful journalists. We will have to carry with that. Individual, I think whoever you are, but I think you can also create your own brand, and locally it is always possible. Don't try to be a national brand, but locally it is always possible now, and new digital platform will give that ample opportunity to do so. So all the best for that being a new brand.
Ketkar, and there are many questions coming. I'm not taking them, and because we are running into 1 hour, almost 1 hour 40 minutes. But I'll wind up the session by asking my own question. I'm Mohan Babu. I was a career journalist for about 35 years, and now I do teach in Bangalore Central University. My query is, you did take the names of M.V. Kamath, Girlal Jain, and they were journalists, and they owed an explanation to the society. Probably they did understand the pulse of the society, and they were more responsible and more responsive. But now, when I look at media, print, digital, you name anything, I get an impression probably media organizations are run by activists. I'm careful in using my word activists and not journalists. What they perceive is correct, they seem to be imposing on their readers or viewers or followers. Your take on this?
Absolutely.
And they seem to be polarizing the society by taking extreme stands, and they are not informing people. They are imposing what they deem fit on the audience. This is my feeling. I would like to hear on your views on this.
See, this is the exact category what I have called as the truth monopolist. They believe that they have a monopoly over truths. Okay, and these are the people who consider themselves brand, and anybody questioning their brand are termed as either troll or somebody's buck or somebody's haters or whatever. The point is, actually speaking, this has been a trend. This has been a trend since 90s, but electronic media has actually accelerated this trend, because this the the attention that you get for the prime time during that one particular discussion. So instead of having a discussion, or instead of having serving news or news analysis, what you are imposing on the viewers at one particular time on every channel are debates, and debates on binaries. Thinking in binary is not. I'll just give you the latest example. Somebody from some Gulf media industry, they called me and they asked me, how do you see three Kashmiris getting Pulitzer Prize? I said, how dare you ask this question? You are asking a wrong question. So he was shocked. I said, you are asking that three Indians who hailed from the Union Territory of Jammu Kashmir, who are working as photojournalists with Associated Press, have got the Pulitzer Prize. This is the correct question. So they are associated with
I think
that there's a problem.
Yeah.
this, the
Yes,
narratives
yes.
are
Okay,
being
now we
said.
can.
So monopoly over narrative, monopoly over that is and we have to come out of this, and we have to train young journalists for this. That is the point that very critical as a value, nurturing value. I think we should do that among journalists. That will really help, and people who sir and Professor Mukti, all of them can play a critical role in nurturing such value.
Thank you, Ketkar. My colleague Sarita will propose a vote of thanks for your wonderful lecture and patient way
I
of
had a
handling.
question. Can I please ask?
Please, you introduce yourself. Probably this will be the last question.
Okay. I'm so
Introduce
sorry.
yourself.
I'm good. Okay. My name is Sanjana. I previously asked a question. I wanted to know.
You can mail me those questions, because otherwise this will go unending. We are already 1 hour 40 minutes.
Oh, okay. It's a short question, and will that be okay if I ask it here? Okay. I'm so sorry about it. Yeah, so my question is, I recently met a reporter. I do not want to take his name, but he was working for a media house, and he told that we are always under, a certain, where they cannot fully portray an information. So every media house is under one or the other party, in fact. So we support one party at a time. So when things go wrong in that party, we are not able to put the proper information outside, and we are being restricted, and the information is being restricted. It has been refrained. So is freelancing the only way of putting out the entire information, or can we do something about it where we future journalists also can access the actual proper information out to the viewers?
No, that is one way of doing it, but I think there are media houses who try to balance out the things, but it has to do more with the funding pattern, or the advertisement that revenue that they are getting, or the ideological tilt. See, openly accepting that ideological tilt is always fine, because while reading the news, a reader knows that what he or she is reading and where it is coming from. So it is always better to, I'm never ashamed to tell that I come from RSS media, RSS point of view, or I'm a RSS Swamsevak. Though my media house is not run by RSS. It is run by a company called Bharat Prakash and Delhi Limited, and with a board. And we have a fabulous history of 70 years where we have fought for freedom of expression from day one. And right from 48, 49, we have been, trying to. But what we have to accept is there will be ideological positions with each and every media house. There will be political tilts. While reading that, we should be very clear about where it is coming from, and we need to at least not from ourselves, but at least from some expert or some comment, we should to give a balanced picture of the reality. If we do that, I think we are doing a fair service. But ultimately, it is the editorial line that is decided by either the owners or the editor themselves. So we have to accept that, and that is a reality. Earlier also it was there, but it was not that blatant. It was not that open that, you know, if you open a particular portal, you know what you are going to get, or if you are following certain handle on social media platform, you know very well that, you know, you will get only one kind of news. So this is, and because of this, what has happened, we have started thinking only in binaries, this or that, as the questions were posed. You know, the life in India is not just national or anti-national. The life in India is not, you know, the reality is somewhere in between, and that in between has to be caught by imagination by a true journalist. That is true journalism, I believe.
Okay, over to Sarita for vote of thanks. Sarita? Sarita?
Thank you so much, sir.
Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yes, sir. Thank you for this opportunity. We from the Department of Mass Communication and Journalism, Bengaluru Central University, convey our heartfelt gratitude to you, Praful Ketkar, sir, for sharing your valuable time and treasure of your knowledge and life experiences. On this webinar today, you have taken us on a journey from places to people to a different dimensions of time while narrating your experiences. We also extend our gratitude to all the academicians, students, research scholars from various colleges across the country who have taken their time and joined this webinar today and have been very proactive throughout the session. I thank you all and thank you so much for joining us today. And thank you so much, Praful sir, for sharing all your wonderful experiences.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Okay, thank you, sir. We can leave. Thank you for all, Sir Chandraprasad and all. Thank you, sir. So this is another program which we are organizing. Prabhu sir. Okay, let it be, no problem.
So we can tell the rest of the participants about our
Yeah, okay.
webinar.
We are another program on Saturday. We are organizing same time by inviting Tarun Vijay. He's a prominent, of course, social worker and journalist. He was also associated with BJP and former Rajya Sabha member. He wants to, because after listening yesterday night, our Prime Minister Narendra Modi's speech, he's changed this topic. He wants to talk on pandemic crisis and the rise of new India. So that he is going to talk on Saturday. So I'll request on behalf of our department, please join also on Saturday. Anything okay, sir?
ಅಷ್ಟೇ ಏನಾದ್ರು ಮಾತಾಡೋದಿದ್ರೆ we can continue ಇಲ್ದಿರ ಇದ್ರೆ
ನಾವೇನ್ ಮಾತಾಡೋದಿಲ್ಲ ಇನ್ನೇನಿದೆ.
Okay ಆಗಿದ್ರೆ.
Okay,
thank you. We can leave the meeting. Thank you, sir. Thank you, Professor.
Raghu, end my meeting na. Hello.